Could you all please stand and greet the graduating class of 2017? Thank you very much. Let's all be seated. So on behalf of the faculty and staff of the School of Operations Research and Information Engineering, it's a pleasure to welcome you here for our 2017 graduation ceremony for our Master of Engineering students and for our Ph.D. students. Joining us today are the following faculty members: Professor Caggiano, Iyer, Muckstadt, Pender, Williamson, Henderson, Reiniger, Fraser, Smartnitsky, Pati, and Topololu. And we'll all have a chance to interact with them at the reception at the end. So this is a day of celebration. This is a day of congratulating our graduates on their really remarkable achievements. Many have been here for years, the doctoral students. Some have had a shorter stay with us here in Ithaca and at our tech campus. And this brings me to sort of an important note in that this ceremony is different for this first year than it has been in any of the previous occasions, in that we're also proud to congratulate our beta class of graduates from Cornell Tech. Now, this may be news to some of you that Cornell has a new piece of itself that's been flourishing for the time being in Chelsea, in Manhattan, and in the summer will move to its spanking new campus on Roosevelt Island. But this is an interesting academic experiment to combine a new style of graduate education with a greater sense of engagement and interaction and application and entrepreneurialism. And Cornell OR is an essential element of that new campus, and it'll be interesting to see how that campus evolves over the time. But indeed, so amongst the graduates today, in addition to our usual class of students that have completed all of their education here, that we now have a new flavor of OR graduate from Cornell. So I think I'd be remiss if I didn't try to give a brief explanation of what exactly operations research is. I mean, I know that, for most parents, and they hear this is what their son or daughter is doing, they think, oh, that sounds interesting, but what is it? And OR has a number of synonyms, or near synonyms, analytics, data-driven decision-making. There are elements of data science in OR. but it's in it of itself is its own stamp and flavor of an intellectual discipline. So one of the things that I teach with some regularity here is a freshman intro to OR. And I typically, when I walk into the classroom on the first day of the semester, write on the board, in some sense, a completely worthless and meaningless definition. Something along the lines of, it's mathematical modeling of decision-making so as to make effective use of limited resources in combining tools from optimization algorithms, stochastic models, and statistical methods to help transform raw data into actionable information. Wow, that's a mouthful. Probably doesn't mean much to very many people. But let's take an example. So if we think about, as I look back at my teaching career at Cornell, approaching far more years than I care to admit, one of the things that was difficult in teaching this freshman intro course back then was that most students hadn't been aware that they had encountered products of what OR tools could bring. They may have actually used them, but they were not as much a part of our everyday lives. And with the information technological revolution that has occurred in the intervening years, OR products and tools are an essential element of our lives. So let me take one example that you probably most have used some variant of another, of some sort of Waze-like device, something that takes a GPS and tells you how it is we're supposed to drive to Ithaca and where is it on the map. So what are the elements that are in a tool such as Waze? Well, at the bottom part, there's an optimization procedure that says that given the data that we have now, collected from other users traversing bits of highway and knowing the expected traversal times for different bits of highway, how long does each little bit of road take, and then how do I piece that together in some mass combinatorial explosion to get a sense of what is the shortest path. But that's not the only issue here, because as we all know, traffic changes. Some cases, traffic changes predictably. In some cases, traffic can change unexpectedly. And so this is where the tools of statistics and its modern-day grandchild of machine learning and stochastic modeling come into play, because we need mechanisms to mathematically model how we capture uncertainty. And you put this all together, and you end up with a tool that we use from day to day. So that is what a quintessential OR product. It is a question of combining the understanding mathematical tools and understanding and algorithmics to put it together to actually help us aid in making better decisions. One of the things that we're very proud of for our master's program is that all of your children and relatives and family and friends have engaged in an extended project driven by some client. And the range of opportunities that projects span give a sense of the range of impact that this kind of principled analysis can aid in terms of a whole host of different settings. So, for example, one project of the Ithaca-based projects this year was in locating courthouses effectively in Afghanistan. Another was in understanding how to better arrange operations at the Hospital of Special Surgery in New York. Another was trying to build prediction models for the harvesting of grapes for a major wine producer in Central California. Another was thinking about the right way to manage online displays of products for Home Depot in the effective marketing of their vast array of products. You can just see there's a tremendous range of settings in which these tools can have an effect. And it's really the information technology revolution that has made the potential so much more enormous for how these tools can be brought to bear on a whole host of different settings. And I think as we will look forward to the coming years and look back many years from now, this really should be the golden age of OR. So I've said enough that I want to just conclude by imploring you to ask your graduates to explain to you what they did. That they've all had some impact somewhere that is tangible and is part of our everyday lives. And it's not some highfalutin mathematics, though there may be that underneath, but it's real, it's tangible, and it's actionable. And this is really the beauty of where we are and the power and the impact that this discipline can have. So with that, I want to turn things over to David Williamson, the Director of Graduate Studies, who's going to present to you the Ph.D. Graduates for this year. Thank you very much.
The Ph.D. is the highest degree that's awarded by Cornell University. It signifies the student's achievements in original research in their chosen discipline. Research is, by definition, the act of doing something that was not known to be doable, of casting light into formerly dark places. I am sure that each of the students whose accomplishments we are celebrating today has experienced both the highs and the lows of the research process, has known both the thrill of discovery and as well as the gloom and the self-doubt caused by hard work that seemed to lead only to a dead end. That is the very nature of cutting-edge research. For the family and friends who are gathered here, we thank you for standing with these students through those difficult days and hope you can now enjoy their accomplishments with them. The Ph.D. degree is awarded not just for research done in the past several years of hard work, but also in recognition of the fact that they have mastered the process of advancing the limits of science and can now begin a career of doing so repeatedly, complete with the ongoing cycles of joy and gloom. I know that I speak for all of the faculty when I say that we are enormously proud of our graduates. They arrived as our students, but they leave as our colleagues. I have a special reason to be proud of this graduating class. 6 years ago, I served my first year as the faculty member in charge of selecting and recruiting incoming Ph.D. students. Each one of the May and August degree candidates is a student that I and my committee selected from a staff of nearly 200 applications. We then worked hard to recruit them to come to Cornell. So I'm doubly pleased to see that our initial hopes for them have been realized by what they have achieved. The traditions of the academic regalia that both the faculty and the graduates are wearing dates back to the medieval universities, to Cambridge, Oxford, Bologna, Paris, and others. Various parts of these gowns have been more recently standardized to reflect the degree attained. For example, the 3 bars on the sleeve indicate a doctorate of philosophy, that is a Ph.D. The colors in the hood indicate the university from which the degree was obtained. In the case of the Doctor of Philosophy degree, the dark blue color is used to represent the mastery of the discipline of learning and scholarship in any field that is attested to by the awarding of this degree, and is not intended to represent the field of philosophy. Technically, the hood should not be worn until after the degree is officially conferred, which will only occur sometime later. However, we shall mark the awarding of the degree today. I will be calling each graduating Ph.D. student by name. I invite them to come forward and stand while I read a short bio about the student. The advisor is then asked to come forward and congratulate and hood the student while I read an abstract about the student's research. Photos will be taken at that time. The Ph.D. student will then proceed to receive congratulations from the faculty on stage and remain on this side of the stage until all the students are hooded. A group photo of the students and their advisors will be taken at that time. So let's begin with our January 2017 degree candidate, Patrick Robert Steele. Patrick was born in Stuart, Florida, and raised in Sandwich, Massachusetts. He attended the College of William and Mary in Virginia, graduating in 2011 with a bachelor's degree in applied mathematics and physics. He began his graduate studies here at Cornell that fall. He is now working at Wayfair in the Operations Research Group. In his free time, he enjoys playing with his dog, reading, and solving puzzles. Patrick completed his thesis entitled Vehicle Routing Problems under the supervision of Professors Shane Henderson and David Schmois. Patrick's research studies problems in vehicle routing in which information is revealed over time. One such problem is deciding the location of long-term bases for aircraft that provide emergency medical services where the time, location, and destination of patient transfers are learned over time. Another problem considers how to dispatch a courier making deliveries from a central depot where the arrival time and destination of deliveries are discovered over time. For the first problem, Patrick's thesis shows that large-scale mathematical programming techniques can yield a practical planning tool for real-world scale instances. For the second problem, theoretical analyses based on probabilistic and worst-case assumptions about the inputs show the efficacy of heuristic methods that optimize the batching of orders for a route. Patrick Steele. The following students will be completing their degree this coming August, but are participating in this ceremony in advance of their completion date. Michael Choi. Michael grew up in Hong Kong. He attended the University of Hong Kong and graduated with a bachelor degree in actuarial science. With the aim of broadening his understanding in probability statistics and their applications, he came to Cornell to pursue a doctoral degree in operations research. Upon graduation, he will reunite with his family in Hong Kong and join Barclays. In his spare time, Michael enjoys reading and watching movies that have a surprise ending. Michael is... How do you know which ones have the surprise ending? Michael is completing his thesis entitled Analysis of Non-Reversible Markov Chains under the supervision of Professor Pierre Petit. In Michael's research, he studies theoretical problems related to a large class of probabilistic models known as non-reversible Markov chains. While Markov models are heavily used in various disciplines, including physics, statistics, and operations research, much of the understanding is limited to the case of reversible process. Michael works on the non-reversible case. In particular, he studied the quantitative behavior of these non-reversible models and compared it to the behavior of the reversible counterparts. Michael Choi. Jieyang Cao. Jieyang was born in Hangzhou, one of the most beautiful cities in East China, which many consider as the beginning of the Silk Road. She attended Zhejiang University and transferred to New York University a year later and earned her bachelor's degree there with a double major in mathematics and economics and a minor in computer science. Jieyang was initially interested in subjects in pure mathematics, such as number theory and abstract algebra, but she started to realize the importance of real-world applications during her undergraduate research experience. She then joined the Operations Research Department at Cornell. Following her thesis defense in June, she will join L'Oreal Capital Management in New York City as a quantitative researcher. In her spare time, Jieyang enjoys eating good food, playing board games, and traveling. Jieyang is completing her thesis entitled On Dynamic Pricing and Assortment Optimization in Strategic Settings under the supervision of Professors Krishnamurti Iyer and Hussein Topologlu. Jieyang's thesis studies the pricing problems of companies when their customers or competitors will respond strategically. For these problems, she characterizes the firm's revenues-maximizing pricing policies as well as the outcome of games. In her most recent work, she studied the problem of how a firm should dynamically select add-on items to recommend to customers after checkout based on the items that they have already purchased. She came up with an algorithm that guarantees revenue within a constant fraction of the best policy, under the arbitrary choice behavior of customers. This problem is useful for large online shopping centers like Amazon and Walmart, which have the option to offer add-on items at checkout. It is also useful for companies in the travel industry, which often recommend hotel or rental car services to customers who purchase airline tickets. Ji Young Kao. Nanjing Jian. Nanjing grew up in Shanghai, China. She received her Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial Engineering at the University of Wisconsin-Madison in 2012 and came to Cornell afterwards. In September, she will join Amazon as a research scientist using simulation optimization to improve their supply chain. In her spare time, she enjoys movies, video games, and the Ithaca Gorges. She has also been practicing karate during her Ph.D. years and just got her brown belt. Nanjing is completing her thesis entitled Exploring and Exploiting Structure and Large-Scale Simulation Optimization under the supervision of Professor Shane Henderson. The thesis explores how to solve simulation-based optimization problems more efficiently using information about the problem structure. Two primary ideas are explored. The first idea involves developing numerical methods to detect convexity, or bowl-shaped regions, in output functions. The second idea exploits simulation traces to generate gradient-like information to guide optimization. She has applied her theory on the bike-sharing system in New York City, known as City Bike, with more than 600 stations and 8,000 bikes. She has provided solutions for rebalancing bikes and station capacities overnight, in order to reduce the times when their customers are unable to find a bike at the start of their trip or a rack at the end of their trip. Nanjing Jian. Stephen Pallone. Stephen Pallone was born March 21, 1991 in Summit, New Jersey, and grew up in the suburban town of Mendon. In the summer of 2009, he began his undergraduate studies at Johns Hopkins University, working toward a double major in applied mathematics and economics. He spent a wonderful 3 years in Baltimore and met the love of his life while working as a statistics tutor. Seeing how well studying math had worked out so far, he decided to invest another 5 years to pursue a doctoral degree. After graduating from Johns Hopkins in 2012, he started his graduate studies in operations research at Cornell. In August of 2017, he will join Uber in San Francisco, California, to work as a data scientist. In his spare time, Stephen enjoys playing improvisational piano, singing with choral groups, playing bar trivia, and exploring new places with Christina. Stephen is completing his thesis entitled Adaptive Bayes Optimal Methods for Stochastic Search with Applications to Preference Learning under the supervision of Professors Peter Fraser and Shane Henderson. Stephen's research involves decision-making under uncertainty, using probabilistic models to learn a user's preferences for academic papers hosted on the archive.org website. In this scenario, a user is asked a series of questions where she chooses the most preferred options from a provided subset of papers. Stephen focuses on adaptively choosing the best subset of papers at every step to learn in the most efficient way possible. Stephen Pallone. Alice Joanna Paul. Alice grew up in Madison, New Jersey. She received her Bachelor of Science in Mathematics from Harvey Mudd College, where she was introduced to the field of operations research. While at Harvey Mudd, she completed her undergraduate thesis studying communication in terrace networks under supervision of Dr. Susan Martinosi. After graduation, she has a position as a postdoctoral research assistant at Brown University, and she looks forward to exploring some new running trails. Alice is completing her thesis entitled Discrete Optimization Under Ranking-Based Choice Models under my supervision. Alice's research focuses on optimization and algorithm design. Her thesis applies these techniques to several problems in revenue management. In these settings, retailers want to determine which products to offer to customers, as well as what prices to offer them at in order to maximize their expected revenue. There is a trade-off between trying to attract customers to higher revenue products and trying to gain more purchases. Her thesis presents efficient and effective algorithms for these revenue management problems in 3 retail settings. In addition to her thesis research, Alice has worked on algorithm design for problems in theoretical computer science and vehicle routing. Alice Joanna Paul. Jian Wu. Jian was born in Anhui Province in China. He received a Bachelor of Engineering in Automation from Tsinghua University in 2011. There he obtained a foundation in math and computer science for his graduate studies. Since joining Cornell's Operations Research Program, he has been interested in various practical research problems arising in the modern information era. In his spare time, he likes reading novels and watching TV series. After graduation, he will join AQR Capital Management in New York City as a quantitative researcher. Jian is completing his thesis entitled Parallel and Scalable Bayesian Optimization under the supervision of Professors Peter Fraser and Jim Dye. Jian's research is focused on minimizing the number of function evaluations required to optimize functions that are time-consuming to evaluate and lack derivative information usually used to guide the search for an optimal solution. Such functions arise in calibrating parameters in complex simulations and tuning parameters in machine learning algorithms. In his work, he has developed novel, parallel, and scalable algorithms for these tasks to enable fast learning at a massive scale. Jian Wu. Yishuan Zhao. Yishuan was born and raised in Dalian, a modern coastal city in northeast China, which serves as an important naval base and logistics center. He attended the University of Waterloo in Waterloo, Canada, where he studied mathematical finance and operations research. After his graduation, Yishuan will join Credit Suisse in New York City as a quantitative strategist in equity derivatives. In his spare time, he enjoys traveling around the world, as well as spending time with his friends in cinema, theaters, and restaurants. Yishuan is completing his thesis entitled Spectral Expansions, an Excursion Theory for Non-Self-Adjoint Markov Semigroups with Applications in Mathematical Finance, under the supervision of Professor Pierre Petit. Yishuan's research focuses on elaborating and providing an in-depth analysis of some sophisticated probabilistic models that have a range of applications in modern physics and economics. His work especially focuses on applying his techniques to financial modeling and the pricing of derivative products. In particular, he provides algebraic transformations that relate complicated probabilistic dynamics in these models with simple ones. This approach leads to an easy and efficient evaluation of substantial statistical quantities of these models. Yishuan Zhao. I now invite all the PhD graduates and their advisors to come here for a brief moment of photo taking.
Next, let me introduce Professor Caggiano. Now, she's been running the Master of Engineering program here for years, and it's only in the last year that Cornell has introduced a new title called Professor of Practice. And in the same spirit that you're getting your degrees really tomorrow, but we're celebrating it today, she becomes Professor Caggiano on July 1st, when let me turn things over to Catherine.
Thank you, David. And let me add my own welcome to all of you here today, to the graduating students, to your friends and families, and to my colleagues here. It's really an honor for me to direct the Master of Engineering program. Actually, David said I've been directing it for years. In fact, I was alarmed to discover that it was 10 years this year. So I'm particularly delighted that the end of my first decade in that realm is with this class. This Master of Engineering class is not only one of the largest that we have had in quite a while, but it's been even a greater honor to have the privilege of getting to know these students and really guiding them. They are an extraordinary group. The class of 2017 Master of Engineering, we are absolutely delighted. Now, commencement is one of my favorite times of year. I'm sure all of you are saying, yeah, we like this time of year too. Exams are done. It's certainly a time of celebration. We're delighted to celebrate your accomplishments, everything that you have done here. If you cast your memories back to MEng Connect in mid-August 2016, I think you will realize that you are not the same people that you were then. And to some of you here, our January 2017 graduates who are able to join us today, that's even August 2015. Wow, practically a millennium ago, it feels. Now, in addition to being a time for celebration, this is also a time for reflection. Now, one of your classmates, and I won't say whom because I don't want to embarrass him, but came to my office the other day and asked me and said, now that I've been here and am leaving, what are some of your lessons learned to me? And I said, well, how much time have you got? Quite a lot, actually. And he said, well, some things that you think will be particularly helpful for us as we move forward. Now, I thought about this, and in fact, I do have such a list. And I'm not going to read the whole thing here today, since I do want you to actually, get out of here before midnight. However, I just want to share a couple of these things that I in particular hope will resonate with this class, and I think perhaps they already do. So the first thing is that solving real problems is hard and it's messy, but it can also be extremely rewarding. Now, some of you here today may not quite understand, well, Master of Engineering degree, what's that? Know what a research-based doctoral degree is, a Ph.D., and a Master of Science is a path towards that. But what's a Master of Engineering? Well, I'll try and put it simply. If the doctoral degree is a path towards pushing those boundaries forward and trying to broaden our knowledge so that we can actually use this to solve problems. The Master of Engineering degree is actually a degree of solving those problems. It's a degree of getting it done. And all of you have worked very, very hard to get it done this year. So that's one thing. Second, I would say, and as you've gone along the way, I know some of you have found that it's hard and messy. And particularly with your Master of Engineering projects, I can recall several students coming in and saying, well, gosh, the data's kind of messy. It's not exactly what we thought we were going to get. No. And as I'm sure many here in the audience can tell you, that's the real world. But again, I've also seen you come around at the end and say, wow, but we really came up with a great solution, and we were able to be creative in doing that. And that's the rewarding part. Second, I would say to surround yourself with people who you can learn from and who you aspire to be like. Now, many of you, I think, have accomplished that just in being here today, and I hope that you have, because your classmates are indeed a peer group that's going to remain with you, I hope, for the rest of your lives. Many of them will. You have learned from them. You, in turn, have taught them. Our faculty here, hopefully you've learned a little something from us, and we've learned from you too. And I would just encourage you, as you make decisions throughout your lives and try and understand, well, which job offer should I take, or should I go down that path? I would just ask you to think about that question. Am I going to be surrounded by people who I can learn from and who I want to be like? And the third thing I would ask that you leave here with is a notion of paying it forward. So 10 years from now, there's going to be another class of people who are in your seats right here. They're probably going to be feeling just as excited, just as anxious to be doing something new, probably a little bit scared. And I would just ask you to think about that and remember them, just as I hope you've had the opportunity to engage with some of our alumni this year. Now you join their ranks, and I hope that you will indeed pay it forward. So with that, I'd like to move on to our Master of Engineering Awards. Again, this is one of my favorite things to do this year, every year, because again, it's really a celebration of some tremendous applied work that our students have undertaken this year. I'm going to begin with the Silent Hoist and Crane Material Handling Prize. It's a mouthful. Now, this was a prize originally established in 1950 for the purpose of stimulating the thinking of engineering students with aptitude or special interest in the art and science of materials handling. Now, things have changed a little bit since 1950. Certainly, operations research has changed. As our field has evolved and expanded, so have the means and the matter of materials handling. So in particular, the handling of data and information are now recognized as important, if not vital, operational functions in just about every organization. So on behalf of the Silent Hoist and Crane Company, who established this back in 1950, we now award the Material Handling Prize annually to recognize exceptional project work that promotes the advancement of materials handling technology, both in the traditional as well as in the more modern sense. Now, this competition is not just open to ORIE students, although given the nature of our field, certainly much of the work that we do lends itself well to it. In fact, this is open to students and student teams across the College of Engineering, and the entries that we received this year for this prize were particularly strong. Now, I'm extremely pleased to announce that first, second, and third place honors are being awarded to Master of Engineering project teams from the School of Operations Research and Information Engineering. So as I announce the winning projects, I ask that the team members for these projects please come forward along with the faculty advisors for those projects. So third place is awarded to the student team who is working with, and I'm not allowed to say the name, so I will just say one of the largest producers of California wines on a project entitled Grape Maturity Prediction. So The project was advised by Professors Madeline Udell and David Shmoys, and the team members are David Lee, Soo-Hyun Lee, Fan Liu, Srishti Saraswat, and Junri Yo. Second place is awarded to the student team working with Cornell Engineering Advising on a project entitled Assigning and Scheduling Freshman Faculty Advisors. The project was advised by Professors David Shmoys and Franz Schalkamp. The team members are Kimberly Brown, Gloria D. Azevedo, and Eric Enriquez. And first place is awarded to the student team working with International Wire Group on the project entitled A Rolling Horizon Machine Schedule for the High-Speed Bunch Line at IWG. The project was advised by Professor Jack Muckstadt, and the team members are Carolyn Kyriakis, Michael Lasinski, and Alexander Schonenberg. Our second set of awards, the Andrew Schultz Jr. Awards, are named after one of our alums and deans of the College of Engineering. The late Andrew Schultz Jr. received his bachelor's and doctoral degrees from Cornell. He joined the faculty here in 1951 and became the head of our predecessor department, which was then called the Industrial Engineering and Administration Department. Andrew Schultz served as Dean of the College of Engineering from 1963 to 1972. He was a strong supporter of the Master of Engineering program. Each year, in his honor, we recognize the most outstanding Master of Engineering students, as evidenced not only by their high academic achievement, but also by their exceptional teamwork, their willingness to encourage others, and their demonstrated potential to become exemplary professional citizens. Today, we are very proud to recognize two such students. Each has contributed to the academic and social fabric of this MEng class in meaningful ways. We're exceedingly proud to be able to call them Cornellians. This year's Andrew Schultz Jr. Awards are presented to Gloria D. Azevedo and Carolyn Kyriakis. I'd also like to take a moment and recognize and thank the co-chairman of our MEng Student Leadership Committee, Nathaniel Ahn and Adrian Wu. I'm actually not sure either. Is Nathaniel here today? I'm not sure. I don't think that either of them were able to join us today. Throughout the year, Nathaniel and Adrian, as well as others on the committee, devoted time and energy to organizing events and activities for our MEng students to enjoy outside of the classroom. These are a much-needed reprieve in the demanding lives of our students. We're very grateful for their efforts. Nathaniel and Adrian will each just be receiving certificates, as well as just a memento of leaving Ithaca, some nice warm gloves that we will make sure that they get. Now, before I hand things back to Professor David Schmoys, I have one more person to recognize for his outstanding service. And outstanding service not just to the Master of Engineering class, but to all ORIE graduate students, our Graduate Student Services Coordinator, Dan Ehrlich. So for those of you who don't know, Dan just started in this role in mid-September, about 1 month into an extremely busy academic year. Over the course of that year, he has mastered the art of drinking from a fire hose with extraordinary speed and keeping us all on track. Now, having just moved to this area from Southern California, this was Dan's first winter in Ithaca, so we would like to present him with a small token that we hope will be both useful and warm.
So now we turn to recognizing our master's graduates individually. And let me just, given that this is an OR ceremony, let's talk about the flow of material, that is, of students. You're going to come out to the left. You're going to get your goodies over there. And then you're going to shake faculty hands. And then you're going to return to your seats. Okay? Is that clear? Good. Now, families, we're going to be proceeding in the order that it is in your programs. Listed in groups and by blocks of graduation dates. And so it'll be clear when your graduate is coming up next in line. And don't hesitate to come down the aisle, take a quick picture, and then go back to your seats if you want. But have no fear. We are taking pictures for you, and we will make them available. So you don't have to feel that you need to be the ones taking the picture. You can just sit and enjoy things from your current seats if you prefer. Okay, so with that, I'll turn things over to Professor Hussein Topololu, who will call the names of our first graduating class from Cornell Tech.
Can I steal the microphone for 2 minutes?
Please.
Thank you. So I've been a faculty member at Cornell for some time, and over the past 2 years, I was at Cornell Tech in New York City. This is a time for celebration and a time for reflection. And, I come back to Cornell not often as I would like to, and I walk these hallways, and I see these wonderful places that I walked in, wonderful people that I talked to. And as you go through the churn of daily things, you don't get the opportunity to think about these things. But when these kinds of special events happen, I encourage all of you, the students, just walk down these hallways, go to the parts of the campus that you've never been before, talk to people that you haven't talked to when you were just going through the daily churn of things, make friends and be a part of the big Cornell tradition because it's an enormous institution and you're going to get to be very, very proud of this institution. I feel very privileged to have the opportunity to teach some of you guys. I'm going to say a few words about the Cornell Tech students. These students are intellectually curious, courageous. Those are the adjectives that I'm going to use for them. You can use other forms of adjectives, lunatics, crazy people. We said, we have this new program in New York City. Would you be interested in? They looked at what it was all about, and they believed in it. They came. And there's only going to be one first graduating operations research class from Cornell Tech, and that's you guys. All of you are special, but you're different. And we're very proud of you. And whatever happens in Cornell Tech in terms of operations research, Master of Engineering, it's going to build on what we accomplished together this year. And Cornell is going to be grateful for you for doing this. and I'm very proud of you. And I'm sort of very happy to be interacting to have the chance to interact with you over the course of the last year. And again, some of you are sort of stepping on Cornell ground for the first time ever. Just walk around this beautiful campus, make friends, engage with the Ithaca students, just enlarge your family. Again, this is an institution where if you give to this institution, you get back a lot. And I just feel very, very sort of wonderfully fortunate to be a part of this family. And every time I come back, I realize how fortunate I am. Okay, I'll stop there. So I'm going to call the graduating class of 2017 at Cornell Tech. So Noel Alexander. Lydia Lee. Greg Picard. Lina Wang. James Ye. Now Professor Caggiano is going to call the graduating class of 2017.
Thank you. Okay, so if I could ask all of just the first row of Master of Engineering students in 2017 to please rise and maybe proceed to your left down to the bottom of the stage and just wait by the bottom there, and then as your name is announced, to please come forward and be recognized. So if you all could start there. Great. Shabai Chen. Jelena Chen. Han Dong. Si Jun Fang. Xi Hao Fang. Si Yuan Huang. Huang Jin. Inbu Liu. Jungyu Long. Racy Chi. Amitabh Saraswati. Haunan Song. Shankai Sun. Xiaoran Wu. Qingsho Su. Hongyuan Yang. Reichi Zhang. Shuichi Zhou. Peikang Zhou. Qi Zhou. Shichao Zhou. Kendrick Dianuel Cancio. Omar Rehan Chowdhury. Gloria Ann Diaz-Avedo. Yi Yao. Kyle Ann Genovese. Andres Eduardo Gonzalez. Carolyn Kyriakos. Soo-hyun Lee. Michael Stephen Lisinski. Xiao Li. Ben Liu. Jingli Liu. Siyuan Liu. Akash Nadan. Anthony Naisnick. Lishan Ong. Brendan Riley. Alexi Rouge Karasat. Shreya Sabu. Sonia Salim. Srishti Saraswat. Alexander J. Schonenberg. Xiaolong Sun. Liyun Wang. Bingxin Wu. Pihu Yadav. Junrei Ye. Soyeon Claire Yoon. Mingchen Zhang. Kaiyu Cho. Miles Chu. Ladies and gentlemen, the Master of Engineering class of 2017.
Once again, graduates, let me speak on behalf of all the faculty. We are so enormously proud of what you have accomplished here and have such high hopes and expectations for your potential. And all that we can do is echo one more time, stay in touch. This is not the end of the road. This is the beginning of an education. And really, we cherish your contributions and look forward to hearing of your further growth as you embark into the real world. Please join us downstairs. There will be light refreshments. And once again, my hearty congratulations to the class of 2017.